Hey, YouTubers, internet fanatics, comic book lovers, creators, aficionados, and people that like boobs. I got a great show for you tonight. This is Anthony Seeker, creator of Oh My God, Misty America, and Venerella, launching on Indiegogo this Sunday. Creator, writer, artist, and do I have creators, writers, and artists with me tonight? First, creator, the artist for The Goblin Girl. We got Mr. Dan Plegel. Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm doing excellent, friend. Thank you for having me.
Oh, wonderful! I've been meaning to have you. I'm gonna share some treats later. Gonna show the kiddies how we met online. In fact, we followed each other on Twitter, but I think we started a discourse after I had this next person that I'm going to bring in. I had him on my show a couple of weeks ago. He's the rock and roll ninja himself, and he's doing graphic design and lettering for The Goblin Girl. And let's say hello to Mr. Matt Barr.
What's going on?
Mr. Matt Barr, he's returning to my show. Had a very, very popular stream about 3-4 weeks ago. I said, what you drawing? Rock and Roll Ninja. Had Matt Barr on. We talked about comics. We talked about punk rock. We talked about metal. We talked about all things fucking cool. Speaking of fucking cool, this YouTube video, this stream is not suitable for children. So kids, if you're watching, go play Fortnite or do some reveal or reaction video. Get the fuck off this YouTube channel. But while you're here, hey, Pop Culture Avenger, while you're here, gabba gabba, hey, Anthony, Dan, and Matt. While you're here, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit the like button. If you're an asshole, hit the dislike button. I don't care. Just engage with the video. And if you follow this channel, like what you see tonight, and you missed it, watch it on the replay or hit that notification button so you know when I have a video. Normally, I have videos every Tuesday night. But all three of these guys are really difficult, and they couldn't do Tuesday night. They're like, oh, we want to do Wednesday, and we're free Wednesday. Meanwhile, they were like texting me all night last night. So whatever. I accommodated because you know what? Boobs talk, and that's it. And with that, I don't know how I'm going to segue from boobs to this guy, but let's give it up for Billy Basco.
Oh, I'm Goblin.
Billy, as I said in the green room before we came on, you got the coolest camera setup. I was on the other night with you on Pete Sametti's open mic. And it's like all of us, we got our little shitty cameras and phones. And I'm on a Chromebook here doing this stream. Billy's got he looks like he's right out of a Zack Snyder movie. I mean, that is amazing. Anyway, right here. And if no one knows what I'm talking about, go watch a Zack Snyder film. You'll get it. Hey, but we're not here to talk about Billy's camera setup or Zack Snyder. We're here to talk about Dan Plegel's The Goblin Girl. Dan, I want you to tell everyone. And wait a minute, before I get into that, let me show some of the folks on the chat. We got Pop Culture Avenger. He says, hail at Frog G.
Mod the Frog.
We got Frog G coming back saying hi, Pop Culture Avenger. I think you two should get a room. Frog G says, tickle the algorithm, smash the like, dingle the bells, and subscribe. You see how I have those two fingers up here for tickling the algorithm? If you're really loose in a couple drinks, maybe you can add a third finger. I don't know.
The shocker, the flocker, the spocker,
well, the spocker, very nice. Nanu. We got Captain Comics. He comes to all my streams. I don't think he's a real person. I think that's just a robot because he says the same thing in every message. Ahoy, mates and mermaids. So Captain Comics, look at Dan with the captain's hat. Dan is your cruise director, Julie Cruz, or he is your Captain Stubing.
Oh my God, you said Julie Cruz. Holy shit.
Yeah, Julie. Or if you're on Pornhub, it's, I think, Captain Stabbing. That's another story. Pop Culture Avenger says, hello, Billy, at Captain. Oh, look at Matt appearing on screen. Oh, boy, Pop. Now Matt's finally been seen on screen. He's going to be doxxed all over the internet now. We all know what he looks like. So anyway, let's get back to business.
Sorry, he's doing
his broken tooth that his daughter.
He looked crazy.
His daughter knocked out his front tooth.
That's the story he's telling you.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
punk rock though, so we love it.
Let's get to Dan. Dan, for those watching the stream, both live and in replay, someone's got an echo going on there.
Is it me?
Dan, give an elevator pitch to anyone unfamiliar with the Goblin Girl, and tell them why they should back the Indiegogo campaign funding right now. Whoops! As I took them right off. There you go, Dan. Sorry.
I'm back. So the Goblin Girl, it is a fantasy adventure book. It is, I would say, tonally, it's the equivalent of like Elvira mixed with John Milius's Conan the Barbarian with a little bit of like fantasy creatures in there. It's an adventure of basically her and a group of friends, a bunch of people who have pasts that are either dark or of some sort of nature where they've done something in the past and now they're traveling through this world trying to basically make up for misgivings and things that have happened. And the world that they're in is a fantasy world that has suffered a major cataclysm due to a magical event. And the Goblin Girl, once she gets released from being held captive in the kingdom that she's from, the Goblin Kingdom, she ends up by doing something. She ends up bringing life back to the world, like the fantastical life back. So, but with that brings good and bad things. So this is just kind of their journey dealing with that and the ramifications. So that's more or less the story or the pseudo elevator pitch of this book. But for the most part, if you like boobs in action with lots of violence and gore and medieval fantasy like Lord of the Rings and stuff, you'll love this book.
And more importantly, if you like boobs, Billy's left the building. Pop Culture Avenger Pop Culture Avenger has the best comment so far. There's a lot of semen in this stream. Anyway, we're not going to touch that one. Billy's back. For those watching, I'm going to share a screen right now.
Oh,
we are going to see.
What are we looking at?
We are looking at Dan Plegel's The Goblin Girl. We're looking at it is currently 157%.
Amazing.
7,858. What's better is look at that with 88 backers. That's fantastic. I think you have some more because, as I said, I backed the campaign tonight and I was number 94.
Yeah.
So still, if you raise $8,000 with under 100 backers, I think your campaign is going great with 22 days left. Let me play the video, see what we got going on here.
Yes, friend.
Some color added by Billy Blasco.
Yes, Billy Blasco.
The colorist. Got the guys rocking out to the...
I think we're getting a little bit of an echo from you, Dan.
Okay.
Do we know who was singing that? Is that a
elves?
Relative?
Dark humor fantasy adventure of epic cleaving and cleavage proportions. We all see what you did there. That was wonderful. By the way, I have to compliment you guys. The all the perks and information listed in graphic form down the left side with your parchment graphics there is so refreshing, because I'm tired of seeing text flowing down these Indiegogo campaigns. So whoever was the brainchild of that, I love it. It's fantastic. Very nice. We got all kinds of perks, which I swung through because I was so busy looking at the art. We have international color version books, $30. We have Down Under Gray Tone books. We have Down Under perks. We have the Gray Tone edition or the color edition. You have your choice.
Those ones that you just went over, after our campaign launched, we made a decision that we didn't, shipping has been a really hot topic here in CG and in just indie comics in general crowdfunding. So we lowered our shipping fees for Australia by 45%. And we created 2 tiers just for them. So if you're in Australia, you can get you can buy either one of the books using the Down Under perk, or anybody in Canada, the European Union, or the UK can use the international one. And we reduced shipping on those by 33%. So if you're in any of those areas, be sure to scroll down, check those other tiers, because you'll get a discount if you're not in the United States, if you just want to get the book. Very
nice. We got a Gray Tone edition. We got the Down on what we just spoke about, shipping to Australia. We already have one claimed, which that's nice. And again, you have your choice between color, which Billy B so wonderfully colored, or the Gray Tone edition that's just you, Dan, just your pencils and inks.
As well as Matt Barr, because he's lettering.
And Matt Barr lettering. I'm sorry.
Didn't mean Anthony, to. Yes. Can you switch me and Dan? Can you switch our spots?
Yeah, give me a moment when I stop sharing the screen. Anyway, you have international color versions, gray tones. See the wonderful artwork. Go back the book, everybody. Go back today. And there's a friend theme going on both the Indiegogo campaign in the chat and with these 3 guys. What are you waiting for, friend?
That's right. Back in today, friend.
All those great campaign assets with the parchment and all that was all designed and done by our great layout and letterer Matt Barr. So
yes,
very nice. And Matt Barr, of course, from the famous Rock and Roll Ninja, whom I interviewed a few weeks ago, and a multitude of other projects going on. Dan, how did you hook up with these guys?
Well, mainly because I came over on YouTube and started going around to various chats and watching shows, and I met Billy first. I met him through I was watching Bancroft's channel, Michael Bancroft from Australia, and he had a guy named Skip that was in his chat, and I saw that Skip had his own channel, so I followed Skip. And one night when I went over to Skip's channel and I was getting off work at like 2 a.m, I saw Skip was streaming and Billy was on there, and I was just listening to him talk, and I was like, "Oh, this guy Billy." I jibed with him a little bit. I was like, maybe I'll get to know him better in the future. Like maybe we'll be friends or something like that. Because we were messaging, they were reading my chats.
Sure.
And next thing I know, me and Billy started talking about interests,
everything.
Yeah, creative interests and stuff. Because we're both about the same age, and so we know our creative pull from is the same sort of grouping, and so I just started talking to him, and then eventually he's like, if you ever need a colorist to work on anything, I'd love to do it. And he sent me some stuff, and I was like, this is good, but it was super bright, and what was funny was his Goblin Girl initially when I made it was way more bright and Legend of Zelda sort of palette.
Sure.
And but I was kind of going for something a little moodier, a little more David Fincher meets Terry Gilliam, sort of dark with sort of a little bit bright stuff, but more sort of muted texture in the
Gotcha.
color work.
Sure.
And so I was like, damn, he would have been perfect for it when I was initially doing it, but now I'm kind of like, I'm going a different direction. And I'd already at the time, I had a colors friend of mine named Matt Yackey that had colored everything pretty much that I'd ever done. So I was thinking I couldn't just jettison my friend that I already kind of offered the job to.
Gotcha.
So, but then Matt ended up having some problems where his workload got really heavy, and then he had an injury thing happen, and I was just like, I need a colorist. And by this point, Billy had actually colored a couple pinups and a card that I did for Zaid Comics. And I was like, I really love this. And at that time, I was like, man, Billy would be really good on this now, because I was seeing his color work on some of these pieces. And then the thing happened with Matt, and I was like, Billy, I think I need your help to do this. And he's like, yes, please. So I was just like, okay, so this is happening. And then we started hanging out with Lola Meets of Lola After Midnight, and doing streams with her. And through her, I met Matt. But I was a fan of Matt's stuff because I had seen Rock and Roll Ninja, and it was like my childhood thing that I collected. That was like the one thing my parents were like, if you want to collect like toys or something like that, like you can't have all the different things. You have to choose something. So I chose G.I. Joe. And so I was like into the comics, and like Michael Golden art and all that type of stuff was like my thing. And when I saw Rock and Roll Ninja, I was like, this is like
holy shit.
Michael Golden, like holy shit. Yeah. So I was just like, I need this. So like I backed that, and then I saw Lola had him on, and I was like, holy shit. This is cool. I'm meeting the creator, you know? And then I got along with Matt, and he's like, anytime, come hang out and stream. I was like, awesome. And once we were hanging out for a while, and I got Billy on to do the Millie. I got him on to do the coloring. We were sitting in our back room thing that we hang out like on Discord, and everybody's just like, if you thought about letterers and thought about editors and like all this other stuff. And I was like, I was thinking this or this and that. And then Matt's like, if you want, I'll redo that logo for you, and I'll even letter the book if you need somebody. And I was like, sure. I didn't know that was his thing. And then he started showing us some of his commercial work stuff that he's been doing for like logo design and advertisement stuff. And I was just
the
like,
Super Bowl.
I was like, oh God, yes. It was like I fell into Matt and Billy, and it was like the perfect sort of three guys working on this thing to make it look the way it is. Like I constantly say like as much as like I want it to be my book, it's becoming us, because when I look at my book, like I like the art, I've lived with it for a while, so I guess I'm kind of like at a place with it where I'm at. But when I saw Matt redo the logo, I'm like, out of everything with this project, that logo is like my favorite thing. I'm like, the logo is perfect. Yes. Like it was like the first time. And I was telling Matt today, I said, when I look at my old logo on my, cause I have, which I'll show you in a minute. I have a copy of the classic Goblin Girl, which was like a kind of a sampler version of the book. It's mainly narration, and there's not a lot of dialogue even in it. And, I look at the logo on that cover, and it looks like the equivalent of like a sad, unfed shopkeeper from like the village. And then I look at Matt's logo, and Matt's logo is like Leonidas, the logo, like the helmet, the shield, it's banging the sword. Like I imagine from my angle is like the horde of like the Persian Empire like coming down on this logo, and the logo's ready for it. Whereas mine's just like, please don't hurt me, please.
Folks, if you're just joining us, Dan Plegel is promoting the Goblin Girl, funding right now on Indiegogo.
Yes,
please back it. I'll share the screen a little later in the broadcast, or hit the replay button, start from fresh, and you'll see the page. I just want to say hello to some folks on the chat. We got Simply Incredible Podcast. He's a kind gentleman out of Virginia. We got Daytona Falls, who's in my neck of the woods. Daytona Falls says, what up, guys? Goblin Girl looks good. Daytona Falls is always good. When he starts hitting the crack pipe later on tonight, his chats will be fantastic. We got Daytona Falls. We got Simply Incredible. Daytona Falls again. I've always enjoyed Goblin style art. Billy Bascow just got eaten by a Pac-Man ghost. But we're sitting here discussing the Goblin Girl. And we're talking to Dan Plegel, Billy Bascow, and Matt Barr. Billy, what's your we've heard how Dan met you online. Do you have any other projects beside the Goblin Girl? Because I know that you discussed various projects when I was chatting with you. What do you got going on?
Well, I was lucky enough, like I said, Dan was saying earlier, I got featured earlier, very much earlier in the year on Michael Bancroft's channel on what's being called like the AR-15 orangutan stream, where he brought me on and we kind of like live crowdfunded a wage for me to create a painting I did. And after that point, it was the ball just started rolling for me. I just started meeting other creatives and quickly getting invited on to a bunch of projects. Like Dan as well, I was a fan of Matt Barr's before meeting him and had already backed his book. So when I met him, I didn't expect that within like a month or two. That was one of the first projects I got asked to be on. Is Matt asked me to do all the Zipatone, like gray toning for Rock and Roll Ninja, and I was just like I said, it was a weird transition going from for 6 months being a fan to then being invited onto a project that I was already had fully believed in. And since then, I have some pages in Black Flag issue 0 where I've gotten to do some color work with Dan Fraga and Matt Weldon. As Dan Fraga, Will Perdomo are writing the story. Matt Weldon was the line artist for Black Flag. I was the colorist with ink spots on Charlie's London. I've had some art featured on Starlight Cats and Mavericks. And and I've got a couple other projects that I can't even really talk about right now. It's been a really whirlwind year, but absolutely wonderful.
Well, you got enough going on. I don't need to promote you anymore then. Yeah. We got 24 Eyes, Outcast Owls Live says hello. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 owls in the chat. What's up, 24 Eyes? If you're just watching this YouTube channel for the first time, please subscribe, hit the notification button, hit like, dislike. I don't give a fuck. I'm old and I got a YouTube channel. I don't care. Matt, I'm going to ask you what you're doing, Matt, but I think it's self-explanatory. And by the way, all they have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch a show I did 4 weeks ago. You were chatting with me for like 2 hours. So just watch that and you'll know everything about Matt.
Good one.
I'm going to take this opportunity to also say down in the link below in the information, there is a link for the Indiegogo page for the Goblin Girl. So go hit that link, go back the book. It's a 64-page book, Dan?
It's 64 pages of story, and it should be about 80 pages with some extras in the back.
Very nice.
I've got like 4 or 5 different alternate covers that we didn't make the mustard that should be in there. Some concept designs, some early designs of Goblin Girl to see her progression as a character, where she started at initially and how she became the way she is now.
Very nice. And Daytona Falls says life is too short to ever hit dislike. You know what, Daytona Falls, you are extremely correct. Let's all be positive on the internet. I know it's hard to do, but we're going to try here, at least on my channel. So if you're not positive, go fuck off. Simply Incredible Podcast says, wow, that's a huge book. That's what she said, Simply Incredible Podcast. But anyway, the huge book we're talking about is The Goblin Girl. There's also huge boobs on every page. Dan, I have to ask Dan, is the Goblin Girl the only female character that has large boobs, or do all the females have large boobs?
They don't all have them, but there's going to be a good majority of large boobs in this book with other characters as well.
It was a different time back then.
Yeah. She's got a sister that's got bigger boobs than her. So.
And speaking of other characters with big boobs. So
yes, friend.
I have a comic book called Venerella, which launches on Indiegogo this Sunday. Don't know the time, don't know the minute, don't know the hour, but this Sunday sometime I'll be launching my second Indiegogo campaign. Nice. My background real quick is I was an indie comic creator. I did 6 issues of a book called Oh My God. Then I crowdfunded Misty America about 2-3 months ago, successfully crowdfunded and fulfilled that in 60 days worth of time because I had the book. I pretty much had the book done. It was a 24-page book. Venerella launches this Sunday. It's going to be a 32-page book with about either 26 or 28 pages of content. And this picture of Venerella was done by Dan Plegel about a week or 2 ago. And there's going to be a pinup in the back of the book. So if everybody likes Dan Plegel's work, we'll have that as a pinup. Dan, when I do my second issue, maybe I'll talk to you about doing a variant cover, throw you some cash.
Whatever you need, friend.
Well, for right now, we got Dan Plegel. He is going to be featured as one of 2 or 3 pinup artists that are going to be in the back of my book. And by far, Venerella, who is a vampire warrior princess from Venus. She's on a killing spree in this 32-page issue number 1. And Dan pretty much, Dan saw a couple of images of mine. And not only did he totally get the costume right, which no one has except Dan, but look at those large boobs. And Dan actually he got the hair right and everything. This is what Venerella looks like. Different shots of Venerella in some pages that are done already. And as you can see, Dan nailed the hair. I think just from this picture alone, Dan nailed the hair great. And again, Venerella's launching this Sunday. It is my YouTube channel, so I am going to take a minute to promote it. Yes. I have a pre-launch page with a mailing list.
Sign up today, friends.
Venerella. Go sign up today. I'll let you know the exact moment we launch. Here's some black and white variants. As you can see, look what Dan did with the hair and the costume. Fantastic, man. Just fantastic. Look, I sent Dan got a picture of this shot and that page 1 splash. And, look what he did with the costume. It's just phenomenal. So,
yeah.
Does she have like an old school style bubble head thing for when she's out in space? Is that what I saw?
She does.
Oh, God, I love that look.
Yeah, I mean,
that was why
I love
when I saw the character and I saw the design work, and it was a lot of like that 60s, like early 70s sci-fi that I love, and I was I need to do this.
I'm 50 years old. I'm 50 years old, so my comic style, everything I do, all that shit, I'm all from the Bronze and Silver Age as far as growing up, and all that old sci-fi, especially that splash page with the old style bubble helmet. I actually thought when the pandemic started, I don't know why we all weren't wearing those, because you can see everybody's face. They're super cool looking, and they must be easy to make. They're just fish bowls on your head. But anyway, I love that classic style. Venerella is from Venus, where the name comes from, like venereal disease, which is super awkward. But that's the whole Latin root of the word Venus, and the goddess and the planet. But the thing is that I always wanted to mix Vampirella with Barbarella, and the opening scene of Barbarella is that classic scene of her coming into the airlock and stripping and all her clothes floating away. And that's kind of the way the story opens in Venerella. She finds herself in an airlock of a US satellite, and it is the future. It's in the 3000s. So Earth and Mars and Venus,
future.
All the aliens and humans are colonizing like on Star Trek. And let's just say the story is about the royal family of Venus, which she belongs to, kind of waging war and peace with the whatever's left of humanity from Earth. So it's a little interesting. And just like Dan's book, they're not as big, but there's lots of boobs. I have lots of boobs on hand. And when I launch this Sunday, I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing bundles of all the covers for like $30, $35. I'm going to be doing singles for $15 with some prints, trading cards. And the cool thing is I'm going to be like offering like 11 by 17 pages for VIP people doing perks. This is a page I'm working on right now, which hopefully I'll have done by Sunday and I can offer it as a perk.
Nice.
Got lots of, and on all my original pages, even if they don't make the book, the nipples are very prominent. So all the pervs could buy the book.
Does she have any venereal diseases?
I don't know about you, but like when I do shows, because I work traditionally, everything's on 11 by 17 Bristol. When I do a comic book show, no one cares about buying the individual comics, but when they see the artwork or the prints or the posters and there's nipples showing through cloth or armor or whatever, they're all over that, no pun intended, or maybe it is intended. Simply Incredible Podcast says, I'm very important. Not as important as the three gentlemen on this broadcast tonight pushing the Goblin Girl. Now, Dan, after you fulfill Goblin Girl sometime in 2022, or is there going to be a follow-up, Goblin Girl 2, the next adventures?
Yes, friend. There will be definitely a Goblin Girl 2. The second issue of Goblin Girl is already being worked on. Like it's in the process. Yeah. Because all the art, all the line art and everything is done on this. There's just a couple pages need to be gray toned, and there's 2 pages that are the drawn interior pages that need to be finished drawn, but I won't be able to do that until we know roundabout what we're getting on that. So I have to leave it open.
Is the Goblin Girl book right now done?
Yes, for the most part, the whole entire first issue of the crucial stuff is all drawn. There's just 2 pages of drawn interior pages that are they're mostly drawn. I just had to leave some spots, some panels blank because I got to draw people in, or put them in like around this bar area because it's a bar sequence.
Sure.
I like pumping the scene because lots of people have drawn in tiers where people can pay to get drawn into a book, and maybe they might be just somebody standing in the background in a crowd. You know, maybe there's somebody that's just in one panel that's standing there right before a building falls on them. Like Dan's like totally crafted a scene here that's like one of the most, classic iconic scenes from any high fantasy. It's the tavern scene. It's the cantina scene where you get to see all the rabble. Exactly. Like, so, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Like you might pay to get into Goblin Girl and you might get to like play cards against the Rathul Knight, or you might get to like brush up and cop a feel like with your elbow with Goblin Girl's titty. Like
I like how you said, Billy, you're paying to get into Goblin Girl.
Yeah,
I think that should be the marketing slogan there. That's the headline.
Yeah, one of the tiers, right, where you're going to be cooked. You'll be drawn in as a person being like skewered and cooked.
Get inside Goblin Girl now.
That's possible. Actually, I could probably put that in there.
Yeah, you get to truly be in it. Yeah,
the drawn in tier page. So
nice.
I've got this top panel is mostly drawn. I've got this shot of a beer being slammed down at a table, and I got the beginnings of a bar sort of sequence that I got to add people into.
Nice.
I've got this gambling situation where I can add a couple people in there. And then down here is some dialogue pages that I'm leaving open in case I need to fit somebody into that gambling section. So that's the state. This is all that needs to be drawn of the Goblin Girl, which is just this 2 pages. But
Dan, explain to me your process, because I was looking at your black and whites. Are you inking, or is that tight pencils? What's going on there with the?
The pencils usually are about like this top panel here.
Right.
So that's about as crazy as I usually get with the pencils.
I got you.
So they're relatively tight, but not like crazy.
All right.
And then from there, I'll go in. Let's see. I should have some line art because I have some. Okay. We're going to share a page here that we haven't shared before.
What exclusive?
Exclusive.
So then they go to this stage, which is, I basically line out with ink all the basic shapes of visuals that I'm looking for. And then from there, they go to this.
Nice.
Which is full on like textured graphic ink. So
look at that fucking.
Or in the case of the page that I showed that was just line arted, they'll go to something like this where I'd throw in all the atmosphere and throw all the lines over it. So yeah. So that's more or less how I work. I move pretty quickly just because I like to see this stuff like finished, like because as much as I'm telling the story to the audience, I'm also telling it to myself.
Sure.
And I don't like to wait. So I will quickly like blast through the pages. But
Dan has been known to ink and gray tone 10 pages in one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they were penciled. I mean, so there wasn't beginning to end, but yeah,
sure.
He inked and gray toned 10 pages one day while we were hanging out over an 8-hour work session. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
and like, so this book here, this is the original book that I did. There was a 16-page sort of sampler. There was very like this page here has a word bubble in it, but most of it was like this with square text pieces. Initially I thought like, oh, maybe I could keep this panel and that panel, and then I'll just redraw that. And at this point, the only thing that's really stayed in the book that's like, as I have described before, is that as kind of like the sourdough like base crumb to keep the keep the germ of the brand is I kept this section of the first page. I redid this top panel, but I just, as I was going along, I just like, oh, maybe I could keep this stuff. And I was like, nah, I'll redraw that. So then I did this page instead. So that's
there you go.
The comparison of some of the updates. And as I went along, there was other things. There was characters like this guy who's her father that I wanted him kind of devilish looking. But it was just, I don't know, it just didn't live up to what I wanted. So I did a page like this instead that's more like graphical, like impressive, like he looks menacing. And then her introduction was this initially, where it was kind of cool, but like as I was saying before, like the mood was very bright in this book. Like she's fully lit. Like this is like very, I don't know. It's not as interesting. So I redid the page, and so now this is the contrast of the two. So you have the new one here on the left, which is like much darker and moodier lighting, and then this old version here on the right. So I don't know. I just thought it needed an updating, and I figured since people were gonna come over and pay their hard-earned money to back this project, I wanted to give them something that was at the level of where I'm at now as an artist. Because like over 10 years have passed. I would say since I drew this, it's been like 13 years have passed since I did that book. So my style has changed a little bit. I changed the style of how I drew the book. This is the old cover, and this is where I'm at now with the new cover.
Sure.
So it's night and day, sort of the variance of the look of everything. I even like her horns have changed a little bit.
And
so,
you're inking all that with gray markers.
Yeah, I use these Copics. So I have about 4 or 5 different ones that I use. They're all the every other number.
Yeah, no, I got
so, and I blend them in a little bit, and I get this. So
and you don't have to worry. Like I mean, I know we're mostly all like old fuckers in here, but like if you got this book and like you had like your nephew over or your niece or something, and they were like 13 or 14 or whatever, and they saw this comic book, this isn't something that you would need to hide from them. This is something that you'd probably even want to share with someone even of that age. This is a cool, fun book with a lot of cool shit to look at.
And if they're 13, they could hide it under their bed too. Still.
Right? Yeah.
That's
I
true.
mean, I know if mom wasn't totally approving of that much boob, but yeah, no, I mean, like this is the kind of stuff that like when we were in junior high and high school, like wouldn't have been on the 18+ rack,
exactly.
But you'd be like, oh god, this is just like, man, this is just fun. This is like we're making fun comics here.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I wanted to do with this. Like, there's a grand sort of story being told within it. It's a fantasy world with dark magic and dark villains and heroes that have fallen and now are trying to find their way back to the light of feeling good about themselves again. But at the end of the day, like all I'm trying to do with this book is tell a really just a fun action adventure fantasy story. It's like Elvira meets Conan the Barbarian sort of thing. There's no nudity in this. It's just some titillating like cleavage stuff and like lots of monsters and gore and violence, and it's just a fun adventure. Like it's no real huge save the planet message about it. It's just if anything, a lot of the times the characters are very gross and it's like Garbage Pail Kids or something as a comic book. It's really.
And I got some questions from the chat, and then Dan, I'm going to ask you about your art influences, and I'll go around with the rest of the crew there. But before we get into that, I want to Pop Culture Avenger says, Anthony, question for the Goblin Girl crew. Would they consider a retailer tier on the campaign for 5 to 10 book packages? Pop Culture, I can't speak for them personally, but if they don't have a tier that speaks like that, I would contact them personally, just like I told you to contact me with my book. I imagine they all take PayPal and they all, will make some sort of deal. But Pop Culture, he backs a lot of campaigns online. Pop Culture Avenger, he's a backer of mine. And again, his question about Goblin Girl Crew, a retailer tier for 5 or 10 book packages, I'll let you guys answer. I'll let Dan, you go ahead and answer that question.
I know. I mean, I'm always interested in getting the books out anywhere somebody wants to get them. It's the only thing like for instance, we had international backers, and we were told I'm lucky to have friends that have already kind of been down the road of backing their first books, and some of them are on like 3rd and 4th books. And they were telling us, you need to charge this much for international shipping. And it was because they were saying
Pop Culture is in Americas. I know that.
Correct. Yeah. But the thing I'm getting at was I thought about doing that tier, but I'd seen a lot of people were saying like, yeah,
sure,
you might get one, so you're better off to have somebody contact you, and then you figure out something where they could maybe get a tier like that specifically. We're trying not to like fill up the thing with like full of tiers. So
as I just suggested,
totally possible.
As I just suggested, Pop Culture Avenger, questions like that, go right to the source. Contact Dan and see if you can work out a thing on the side with him for that.
Yes, sir.
Because God knows everybody wants to sell comic books and get comic books in people's hands.
Want everybody to have them.
Anybody that wants to actually like buy our comic book with the intent of putting it on a shelf somewhere for like other people to see it. Oh, hells yes. Please and thank you. Yes.
Daytona Falls, not to brag, but I show up in Cornerstone's book Coming Soon twice. Okay.
Damn.
Daytona Falls says, damn, dude, that looks good.
Thank you, friend.
Holy moly. What the? That's great. Daytona Falls is very eloquent, and I hope I hope I captured his Daytona accent good there. Pop Culture says that's some good art. Hey, Agent of Camp, a good friend of mine and a backer, says, hey, all chat. Pop Culture Avenger, right back at him. Agent of Camp says, ooh, titties. That's right. There are plenty of titties, but there's a great story to go with it. So that's always a bonus. Daytona Falls, always eloquent, just puts an exclamation point, or maybe I'm too old and it's a 1. No, it's an exclamation point. Agent of Camp goes back. It's like my chat is just full of people saying hello to each other. Look at that. Daytona Falls. Again, he types as good as he speaks. Our Agent of Camp, look at that. better make the pages plastic coated if a 13-year-old is going to read it.
Oh,
Now,
they are double glossy. Yeah.
that's just,
yeah.
Look at this Pop Culture 250 bid confirmed. Ooh.
There's
Daytona
original
Falls.
art on the campaign.
Yep.
Daytona Falls, isn't it? As I said, Daytona Pop Culture Avenger is a fantastic backer of Comicsgate, Indiegogo stuff, all kinds of indie creators online.
Yeah, if Pop Culture wanted to get a page and like like a 5 to 10 comic tier, and of course we'd send him out his free black and white version with the page. I definitely think you should contact us. We could work something out. Even if it's adding a secret tier, so it doesn't clog up the rest of our stuff. We could add you your own secret tier that you can would be able to go to, and then everybody else would still be able to see. It's like, oh look, the number went up, and the number.
Billy, that was so beautiful. I shed a secret tear.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's dried up. Daytona Falls says it isn't just about the sandbags. Look at everything going on in the frame. Amazing. Agent de Camp, lots of detail in those pages. It's all those expensive Copic markers he's using, man. Come on now. And those ain't cheap. So, let's back this book. Daytona Falls, love it. Can't wait to spend rent money on Goblin Girl rather than crack. And everybody's and all these folks on my YouTube channel, please save some money to back Venerella this Sunday.
Hold off on the crack and lobster this week.
And you don't lose street cred. I mean, you're still getting butt crack and titty crack. So
yeah. We're giving you some crack.
Daytona Falls is in
safer.
Daytona Falls is in Daytona. I'm north of. I'm just north. I'm just north of Daytona.
I'll take it.
So the fact that Daytona Falls has any money at all is a good thing. Love it. Can't wait to spend money on Goblin Girl. We already saw that. Pop Culture Avenger says, thank you. I will be in touch.
Awesome.
So please, all you gentlemen, look for emails from Pop Culture Avenger. Daytona Falls just retorts, haha. Agent de Camp says, save money. What the hell does that mean? Agent de Camp is a gentleman that I actually know. I have not seen his collection, but I think he's got like a couple of 100 long boxes of comics in his house.
Nice.
And he backs all that stuff. And he's probably wearing his full all caps comics hat, sweatshirt, and other regalia at the moment. Oh, a few months back, I got some Dan original art and sketchbook from Red Valkyrie or Alterna Auction. Great. So Pop Culture already has acquired some original art by Dan.
Correct.
And a sketchbook.
I think I mailed all that stuff out already. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I've mailed everything except for Jason Bascom's stuff because I did some stuff for his campaign.
Pop Culture says, and yes, it had large boobs. And for anyone joining me right now, Dan Plegel, his large boob, he did a pinup for me. And if you back my campaign this Sunday, you'll get that Dan Plegel pinup in the back of my book.
And even if my pinup wasn't in it, you should still back that because it looks like a lot of fun.
Despite that, though, your pinup is in it. And you will have it hopefully just before Christmas or the week after. Also, by the way, for all you guys on here, creators, I want to tell you a funny story. I did actually have my last campaign, which was 3-4 months ago. I did get a bunch of United Kingdom backers, and it cost about $25 to send a Gemini envelope there, Gemini package. $25, but here's the bad part. It took 50 days to get there.
Oof.
So let your international backers know, and they do know already. My UK backers told me flat out, because when it was about 3.5 weeks, I started emailing and messaging saying, to my UK people, I had 4 of them. I said, did you get the books yet? And they're like, no. And they're like, we have no mail drivers, meaning postal drivers, and all our mail is probably sitting in a depot somewhere. So my book just got there this week for all 4 of them, and it was 46 days. So just for anybody watching the show who's an Indiegogo, Kickstarter, eBay, whatever, if you're selling books overseas, plan on between 40 and 50 days for them to get there the way things are going now. And I don't know if you guys have heard on the grapevine, I don't think things are going to get better anytime soon. And for all you creators, go get your shit printed, because printers, like local printers that I know, like Matt, I've been in advertising my whole life. I deal with printers every day. And I called them a few weeks ago and they were telling me, and these are printers in the United States, it's getting harder and harder to get paper. And not only are they running out of paper, but they're having ink shortages worldwide. So ink and paper, the two things that you need to make comic books, there is going to be a supply issue in the next few months, if not now. So my advice to everybody as a professional advice from talking to printers, get your shit at least to the printer as soon as possible, because who knows what's going to go on in 2022.
Yeah.
Way to keep it positive, Anthony.
Right.
But anyway, or just collect all the money now and hold it till 2022.
Yeah.
Agent DeCamp, the gentleman who I was talking about, says he has over 66,000 comics in his collection. Wow.
Oh, there's an update to that number.
Yes. Make a worldwide tier with the higher shipping.
We have that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Uncle Joe. I think that's a "Let's Go Brandon" comment by Agent.
Oh, okay.
Let's go, Brandon.
Weird that isn't affect the MS.
Micro Siberia.
Yeah, maybe micro sphincter. I don't know. Multiple sclerosis people. I don't know what that means. But anyway, Daytona Falls, just that he must have toked on the crack pipe before.
The same thing is happening again to from US to Australia. Like I said, we hang out with a lot of the Australian folks, and one of our friends, Hockey, he just got his Starlight Cats, and I think he just got his Graveyard Shift, and those shipped 2 months ago. Yeah,
Let's look at Daytona Falls comment. The MS.
Oh, mainstream.
You meant the mainstream. No Daytona Falls. I don't buy any mainstream comics, but you are going to see solicitations from DC, Marvel, and Image, and Dynamite, and whoever. You're going to see some titles canceled in the next few months eventually.
Yeah, and mainstream also, they have localized printers for every region in the world, so they don't their comics are actually shipping. I mean, even though it's still through the mail, it's being all done through local domestic mail for each region rather than coming through an international mail route. So it's mainstream probably won't be as affected from the delay from the mail side as much, only because, like I said, they have localized printers in every country.
Yeah, my point was, I don't think they're going to have a postal issue. I think they're going to have a
paper. Yeah.
I think eventually they might have a paper and ink issue too, because they're printing. Even though they don't sell it, they're probably printing 200,000 copies with their back issues ending up in Walmart packages and Ollie's bins. So eventually,
well, even these shit books that they're doing, I mean, just by virtue of how business goes, I know a lot of those books that sell, what would be considered a low end mainstream book around, 30 or 40K, they've got to be double printing that just for safety reasons. So it's all that wasted paper. God, they're not going to be able to continue that.
Well, if you notice, it made the news a couple of weeks ago that Image Comics is no longer doing second printings of anything ever. So
wow. Holy shit.
That's what they said. They'll walk that back. But
that's a strong line.
No trade paperbacks, huh?
I didn't say trade. I said the floppies. They're not gonna do any second printings. That was a big announcement last week.
That could be good for the value of books.
It's going to be good for the value, and also it probably be good for retailers too. Pop culture, hail Comicsgate, hail indie creators. Hi, Comicsgate. By the way, Anthony, yes, I am wearing my Cyberfrog shirt. Yeah, I knew it. I think you'd have Cyberfrog pajamas if you could. Hi, Comicsgate. We got lots of Comicsgate love in here. Goblin Girl looks great. Share the link. Okay, I'm going to share the link. Look at that Salamandroid PVC.
That's right, friend.
I'm still waiting on my Cyberfrog PVC.
I don't think mine's coming till the book comes because I think I ordered it with that. So
yeah. Anyway, I see all these Cyberfrog PVCs on Twitter, and I'm getting jealous.
Yeah.
But hey, I was asked to share the screen, the link one more time, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Anybody watching the chat right now, please go back. Dan Plegel's The Goblin Girl.
Yes, friend.
Excuse my scrolling for a second. All right, here we go. Goblin Girl. I'm not going to play the trailer again, but I will say that Goblin Girl's got $7,858. However, I think you got some backers since we've been on air. I know I backed you. I'm backer number 94.
I think I know why the number situation is what you're thinking, because I saw that before on another stream. I think what it is somebody canceled their order and then got a different tier, so they got more stuff.
I think it's like Squid Game, and they moved after they said red light, and you lost a couple backers that way. Anyway, you can get all the books plus the original Gangster Goblin Girl reprint for $80. You can get the color edition for $30. I think you had $10 shipping in the United States on that.
Yes, and $30 internationally worldwide on those. Right. But we wanted to bring we figured out a way in some places to get it there a little bit less expensive. So we added a couple of extra tiers, which would be the international and the down under ones.
Right.
And those ones have it about $20 for specific areas. But if you look in there and you don't see your area, go to the main one, and there is a $35 shipping option in there.
You may not see the area, but you definitely see the areolas.
Yes.
Hey Billy, no offense, Billy, but I ordered the gray tone edition just because I'm so
because he only loves me and Matt.
No. Listen, I'm a I do outlaw black and white type stuff in my interiors, and I want to get into more grayscale. So I bought it just so I could steal some of Dan's technique there.
I tell people that just buy the black and white. I don't take any offense at that, because the black and white gray tone versions were the versions that I fell in love with, that made me want to work with Dan so much. So anybody that wants to grab a piece of that, just OG, raw magic.
I think people will want to grab a piece of something after looking at this book. We got international, we got color and gray tone books. You can get both for $50. You can get the Goblin's chest. You get a t-shirt. Bunch of swag. It looks like what is that? A ring of some sort. Looks like a fanny pack. What's that little thing there? Let me see what we got here. What is that?
Oh, it's a magical ring.
Oh, it is a ring. Okay.
I'm holding it up right now, friend.
That ring goes around your finger, right?
Yeah. It's a ring.
I'm holding it up right now.
I mean, or you could put it on your toe. It could be a toe ring.
Well, anyway, you guys, please back. Look at that ring.
Places, right?
It's going to have a red jewel in it.
Hold on, let me zoom in on that.
You get a ring of power with that Goblin's chest.
It's going to have a red jewel in it. It's just.
Is there any? Do you say any kind of like in Brightest Day and Blackest Night? Anything?
Well, it's cut right from it's. If you see any red stuff on there, it may or may not be Goblin King blood.
Agent DeCamp says he got my Cyberfrog Salamandroid PVC yesterday.
Nice.
Daytona Falls said, I'm not about the toys. I just want the book. Agent DeCamp has a very important question. Do all these books come autographed? Didn't think about that, huh?
We thought about it. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. Because right now, as it stands, we could probably autograph all of them.
All right. Well, maybe they can contact you.
Yeah,
if
that's what I was
they back
saying.
the book,
Maybe if
contact
you
them
want,
and say, "Hey, sign this for me."
yes, message us like your backer number and your name, and we will make sure those books are signed in an appropriate place that doesn't obscure anything.
In fact, the best way to possibly ensure, like, if you want a signed book, is to actually, if you backed, contact us through Indiegogo so that your backer number comes through with your message, and then you can be sure to get that signed book.
But yeah, we could work it out.
Yeah.
If you want it signed by all three of us, it's going to go on a grand tour.
We can work it out. Well, you guys will have to have a show somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they'll have to stand in line.
If that's the case, then what happens is it gets signed by me and Billy, then it gets sent to Matt, and then Matt gets to fulfill the books.
Yeah, and then you can pay the shipping 3 or 4 times.
Matt's
Pop Culture Avenger says, Anthony, I got to cut out. Great stream. See you sometime Sunday. Take care, Goblin crew, and everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe. Hey, Pop Culture Avenger, thank you for backing these lovely fellows with the Goblin Girl. At Daytona Falls, I missed the Ides cover. I'm pissed. I guess those guys are talking about Cyberfrog stuff again. Daytona Falls got Bullet Maker 2. Oh, look at that. That is an original picture of Venerella done by Dan Plegel.
There you go.
Dan, jump on my stream Sunday and maybe you can sell it online to somebody.
What time do you think East Coast?
I have no freaking clue. It depends on how much sleep I get Saturday.
Sundays at work, I start work at like 6 o'clock West Coast.
Well, no, that's okay. What we'll do, Dan, is after I launch on Sunday, in a following week, while my campaign's going on, I'll have you jump in on a Venerella stream that I do, promoting myself, and you can go ahead and sell that to someone if you like. Maybe we can raise some money, or maybe give it to breast cancer or something. I don't know. So look at that beautiful, beautiful stuff done by Dan for my book. It'll be a pinup in the back of Venerella issue number 1. Thank you very much for showing that, Dan.
Yeah, friend.
Yeah. Oh, I got to ask, what's with the friend thing? Is that what she says to everyone?
No, that is just what I've, like, one of many things I've become known by in this wacky world of YouTube streaming. It started because I had a teaser trailer for my mailing list.
Okay.
That I did with a little red friend of mine who has his own channel called The Squish Show.
Okay.
And he was the guy in the store that was looking for a book to buy.
Nice.
And I needed another voice to bounce off of him, that was the opposite of him. And I always remembered, the great, shilling voices of radio and some television programs.
Hello, friend.
Yes, and we just realized kind of specifically where I may have heard it the first time, which was the old Disney Goofy little mini shorts, where it was like Goofy on golf, Goofy like on vacation, like whatever. And there was like the narrator of, "This is our friend Joe. Joe is a mild-mannered man, and he likes to do mild-mannered things. And today he's taking his family camping. Oh my, this should be very interesting to see how this all shakes out for him, friends." It's like that sort of thing. And so I did that on the commercial for the Goblin Girl mailing list, and we started showing it on channels, and people just thought it was hilarious. And so one day on one of the streams where I did it, I just started talking for the rest of the show, like, "Oh yes, friend, be sure you back this book, friend." And then like everybody thought it was hilarious. And then I started going on other friends' shows, and they were like, "Oh, it's our friend."
Well, it is. And it's also, that's very cool. I know exactly what you're talking about. It works perfectly. And by the way, it's charming in print too. Even when you're scrolling on your Indiegogo page and you see the friend in the parchment, the wood cutout, whatever, it looks so cool. And it's a nice, I love the campaign. you gentlemen who probably worked collaboratively on that page also, everything looks amazing. The graphic design, the page layout, Matt Barr, no doubt, is responsible for most of that, and making chewing noises on this program for the
That
last
wasn't
hour.
me.
But
I'm not eating anything, am I?
But we can't tell.
I'm not.
Maybe a young starlet that we're
I'll say in the photos.
Can I address a question that Daytona Falls has? We're all like first year kind of indie creators. Dan has, like I said, he's printed a comic book and done the comic book convention scene in the past. We've never, none of us have fulfilled before in the past an Indiegogo book per se. But just so you know, like we did state earlier, I'm not sure if you caught it or not. As far as production goes right now for the Goblin Girl is 99% drawn. There's only one page that has not been finished, and it's specifically the drawn in tier. Dan's actually already 32 pages into drawing Goblin Girl 2. So we are absolutely months ahead of schedule right now for any kind of fulfillment. So
Dan got tied up because he did a pinup for me.
Yeah.
So
we have even though this is all our first time at the rodeo riding the horse, we have a lot of friends out there, including Dan is a 30-year friend with Dan Fraga. Matt works for Richard C. Meyer. I have some connections from people in the education industry that did print. So we've got a good support group. We're not just flying it blind out there, even though it's our first time. Like I said, we're like 4 months ahead of schedule. You're going to get your book.
And we got guys like Michael Bancroft also, who's fulfilling like a champ, and he's another person that we go to ask questions about. We put the fulfillment date for this book out is in June of 2022. If we can, we'll meet it sooner, but we were trying to give ourselves enough room to like order all the stretch goal items and have everything ready to go to be able to crowdfund. Because we definitely don't want to be a campaign that's shipping in an exorbitantly long period of time. Like initially I wanted to fund the book and just be like, hey, everybody give us money so that when we close in X amount of days, we start shipping the books out then. But everybody's like, no, like, give yourself a little more time than just saying you're going to ship that quickly. So
Daytona Falls, he's harped on this in previous streams that he's been on for me. I think, unfortunately, he was burnt by some people.
Oh, yeah.
Probably early in the Comicsgate history. I think he's mentioned that. So he always asks that. I think he's cynical. And also, like I said, he's smoking crack tonight in Daytona. So what do you want?
It's a concern.
Daytona Beach says it all. And by the way, Dan, maybe some of that deadline stuff can rub off on your friend Dan Fraga. Just saying.
He's moving along. He's drawing pages as quick as he can.
Hey, here's what I think. Okay, honestly, I love doing YouTube stream, but isn't it a catch-22? We spend hours and hours talking to people online promoting a book, yet we can't actually draw a book because we're too busy doing these YouTube shows. I feel for everybody. It is a catch-22 in today's world. You got to market, you got to make friends, and you got to be on YouTube channels so more eyes can see your books and your campaigns. But Daytona Falls,
valid question. My very first, I don't knock anybody that's worried about possible fulfillment with us. Yeah. Like I said, it is a valid concern. My very first CG book that I backed, I never got.
Sure.
And I know I'm never going to get it.
Yeah.
So I get the concern.
And that's what you get. And to his credit, Daytona Falls says, I've received more books than I get burnt on. I'm happy about that. I hope so. Agent DeCamp is untouchable. He's so cool. He hasn't been burnt yet by anybody. And Agent DeCamp backs everyone. He may wait 4 or 5 years to get the book, but he receives it eventually. But anyway, gentlemen, I cannot tell you what an honor it's been to have such talented folks like yourself. Billy, I have corresponded with you on Twitter for a while, but I followed you or was promoting your stuff on when I had Matt on without even connecting the name and your face. And then I think you followed me or was after me on or before me on Pete's show. And I was mentioned in the book because Dan was doing the pinup for me. Dan was actually on a stream asking me about getting a copy of Misty America, my last book. And I said, well, and he's like, how about I draw a pinup for you? And I said, yeah, go ahead. And I'll send you as many books as you want. So, it's all about the friendly stuff. Matt's just, great. Matt's been talking to me for months off and on, both on Twitter. He went in my YouTube channel one time and I didn't look at his name. And I said, Matt, you do a book, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm in Rock and Roll Ninja. And I thought I was talking to your boy, Zach, on the comments. And then I tweeted him and apologized. I said, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't even read the name. I just saw Rock and Roll Ninja and made the connection that way. But, we're all creators here. We're all, in this shite together. But I do really appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Again, for all you folks watching, besides hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button, please go on Indiegogo. And by the way, the link is in the description below to this YouTube video, but you don't need that. Go into Indiegogo, hit the little magnifying glass and type in The Goblin Girl or Dan Plegel. The page will come up. You will get to the page. You will see all the beautiful perks. Got gray tone books. You got full color books, international, Australia, UK, you name it. You got bundles with finger rings. Got all sorts of cool stuff. Wonderfully colored by Billy B over there. We got great graphic design and lettering by Matt Barr. And we have Dan Plegel, the creator and artist. Hey, Dan, before you go, I got to ask.
Yes.
What is your art influence? And again, here's my take. And this is so full of crap because everybody's always like, oh, you remind me of this and this. You actually, in the early 90s, speaking of Harris and Cyberfrog and stuff, I used to read a lot of Creed with Trent Kanuga. And your style.
Oh, Lord, I know people just coming in their pants right now.
Your style.
The bottom corner just got wet, not mine.
Your figures reminds me of Kanuga's Creed. I see I got Humberto Ramos's stuff early on when he was doing Deviate and
that's definitely one right there. Humberto Ramos for sure.
I have a Ramos sketch. See that she poster right next to that. Yes. There's right next to a tambourine. There's a Ramos
I see that
print
one.
there. He did that for me at a convention for free. It's the chick with the chopsticks in her hair from Deviate for free in 1995, maybe some Orlando convention. No one knew who the hell he was. He had only done one issue, a pickup issue of Gen 13, and he did issue 1 of Deviate when that came out.
Yeah.
So I got an early sketch done by him. The reason I didn't grab it and show you in person is because on my YouTube stream, I don't wear pants. So if I stood up, we got a problem. So anyway, but you remind me of Trent. You remind me of Ramos.
Okay.
And I'll even give you more of a compliment, but with the aesthetic of in your backgrounds and stuff, as a more cartoonish, and that's not meant as an insult, but a Wrightson cartoon. You got a lot of detail in there.
Yes, you nailed it. Wrightson's definitely a big one.
You got a lot of that detail in there, but you got your own style, and that's what shows through. But so did I nail that, or you got somebody else?
Pretty close. Trent Kanuga. The only thing I would say with Trent stuff, I've never seen a book by him. I've only seen ads for his stuff because my comic shops never had his stuff in.
I got you.
But as far as Wrightson goes, you're very accurate because this is a piece from another one of my books.
Nice. There you go.
So I'm very Wrightson influenced.
Are you familiar with Tim Vigil?
Tim is one of my mentors. So yes.
Well, Tim Vigil, I had coffee today with Tim Tyler. You familiar with Tim Tyler?
I'm familiar with Tim Tyler. I wrote him years ago when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I ordered some books directly from him one time.
Tim Tyler and I have lunch together every week. He lives in my town.
Oh man, I love Tim Tyler. I had Razor.
Can I show you something real quick?
Yeah.
I'm the Canuga nut, by the way.
He's the Canuga nut for sure. That's where the color.
I've been following him for 20 plus years.
I like Canuga, but I could never get his books. Like back in the day, I wanted to get them, but they didn't have them. Yeah, this is that right. The piece I did for you is very Tim Tyler-esque to me.
Well, that's appropriate because here's the deal. Tim Tyler was looking at your artwork this morning.
Oh.
And hold on, let me see if there. See this?
Nice. It is.
That's Tim Tyler's variant cover that he did for me.
I just backed one of his books last year, but I got the Tim Visual cover version of it. Yeah.
Well, Tim lives in my town, and we go hang out. We're doing a show in January together because
cool.
I kind of take the kind of moniker of outlaw stuff myself because my books have nudity and blood. And
I have some like that too. So, I was trying to be tame over here because I didn't know what the audience was in this YouTube crowdfunding group. That was,
and I'm again so glad that you brought up Trent Canuga because I got to tell these guys yesterday, but I guess it's something I can share kind of with the public at large. Trent Canuga contacted me yesterday, and Trent Canuga bought Goblin Girl yesterday.
Very nice.
We were very cool to hear.
He's like, who's ripping off my style? The thing is, the reason is I bought Canuga's Creed when it came out, as it was coming out, and I have all the black and white versions. So that's why I kind of got that vibe, just because he's got that. Exaggerated,
what's funny is Canuga's influence. I would say rather than Canuga being an influence on Dan, Canuga's influences are Dan's influences.
Sure. Yeah.
That he has.
When I was developing my style, was around the same time that he was breaking in because I'm 47, so
yeah.
He's around the same age as me, and I was a fan of his stuff back then. I was like, "Ooh, this looks cool." I'd see the ad for his stuff. Dude, that's awesome.
Well, what I wanted to say is, I've been see that panel.
Yeah,
I've been doing stuff like Tyler and Vigil, again, not knowing it.
Right.
You understand? Yeah. And there's that thing where people say, "Oh, you look like this." You look like my first books years ago, 2 years ago, when I put my first book out. They're like, "Wow, did you ever hear of a guy named Tim Tyler?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's a friend of mine." And there's your stuff reminds me of him. Now, keep in mind, I actually met Tim Tyler personally before knowing his art style because I had always been a fan of Razor and Everett Hartso's stuff, but Tim Tyler did inking jobs on covers and some, interiors and stuff, but I never knew him by name. So it's not like I was like, oh yeah, with me, I was like, yeah, I read Perez and Starlin and John Byrne, when I was a kid. And that's but then when I started doing black and white, they're like, oh, it looks like Tyler, or it looks like Vigil. And I didn't know who the hell they were talking about until I actually met them in person. And I'm like, oh yeah, people tell me your shit looks like me. So, they decided to, Tim Tyler,
never too far from me is this book.
Awesome.
And this is another one of my big influences from Marvel Comics.
There you go.
Alan Davis.
Nice.
Alan
Davis, amazing.
Yeah, Alan Davis
on the wall behind me, I have a few books that are highly creative, important ones to me. One of them is Faust by Tim Vigil. I have the issue #1, and I have the what does it have? The Pits over here on the wall as well. I'm a big Del Keown, as I see you have there on the side. So yeah, a lot of those. There's a lot of manga artists
Tim Vigil did this.
Yes, that's
Tim
awesome.
Vigil,
I love that piece.
Tim Vigil did this for Tyler for his issue of Fiend.
That logo looks so sick. Jeez.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Do you guys watch Cartoonist Kayfabe at all?
I used to watch it a lot. I don't watch it as much anymore.
Can I make a recommendation though?
Sure.
Go watch a video. Cartoonist Kayfabe did a review of a bootleg Batman comic.
Oh,
I've seen that.
Yeah, with the rape scene. Yeah,
I saw those pages in person.
Yeah,
that's amazing stuff. I was more impressed with the Harley Joker scene, and then holy shit,
dude!
I want that. You know what? Hey, Black Label, give me that.
I was thinking about getting Tim to do a like a pinup poster or like a variant cover for the book, but I didn't know how well it was going to do, and I didn't want to go fully into debt with a bunch of stuff because I would. Tim is a he's a fine artist, and his prices are fine art prices. Yeah. So like I wouldn't want to sell it. If I got him to do it, it would be part of my collection. So I couldn't sell the piece on the campaign. So it would be literally, it would just because I want Tim to draw the character.
Agent de Camp, backer of mine, also co-hosts my channel sometime, backer 96. So hey,
awesome.
Two sales, probably 3 that I know about since the show started. So.
Every single sale is huge to me. Like the backer count to me is like the thing I love more than like the money is good because it makes the product happen, but the backer count is the support of people that are really interested in what we're doing.
Agent DeCamp, who just backed your book, said I also have the old Creed books. And,
man.
And we're not talking about Apollo Creed, and we're not talking about the Scott Stapp fronted Creed. We're talking about Creed from Trent Canuto.
That's a great book to call.
Yeah. I wish there was a black and white artist edition of this because the line art in this is so cool.
What year did that come out?
This, I bought this actually. I didn't buy this from Comic Shop because when this came out, I was on vacation visiting my mom and I didn't know where there was comic shops in her area. And I bought this from a bookstore, I think it was like a Barnes and Noble or something like that.
But what was its original?
It was 88, 1988.
I was like, because it's funny because I haven't seen that book in like 28 years or something. Because as soon as I saw that logo, I was like, I owned that book.
The Dark Tower, the Stephen King's Dark Tower drawing of the 3 had come out that weekend that I picked this up because they were selling, and I bought both of them at the same shop.
Gentlemen, if any of you are interested in Tim Tyler, off the top of my head, it's patreon.com/Rathouse Comics. So
he's always doing books.
He just gave me today,
so many that I can't even keep track.
Today, I traded him a large coffee with cream and sugar at Dunkin' Donuts, and he gave me 100-page edition of his Engine graphic novel, which is like a manga style.
Oh wow,
it's amazing. Gray tones and ink for days. But anyway, so if you want to check out his stuff, it's patreon.com/Rathouse Comics. Hopefully I will get him on a stream soon. He's very anti tech stuff sometimes, but the greatest dude in the world, did some work on Fathom Press with both the first issue of Razor with Everett Hartsoe, and did a lot of work with Tim and his brother Joe. Yes. So the Vigil brothers and Everett Hartsoe did a lot of stuff. And he's OG. He started independent printing and doing comics way back in 1988, I believe.
Nice.
Like I was just graduating high school, and he was already doing comics, and all through the early 90s. And his volume of work is amazing. So please go, and he's a good friend of mine. So please go check him out at patreon.com/Rathouse Comics. Also, please go on Indiegogo right now. Don't delay, and go back The Goblin Girl by Dan Plegel with help by Matt Barr and Billy Bascow. Guys, thank you so much for having me on. And last but not least, Venerella, my book, launching this Sunday. Hopefully I'll see you guys featuring a pinup by my good friend, Dan Plegel.
That's right, friend. Venerella. Get it.
But friends, thank you all for joining me tonight. If you guys want to stick around in the green room so I can say my bid you adieu. Ladies and gentlemen, every Tuesday night except tonight, 8 p.m., Anthony Sika, YouTube here. Again, Dan Plegel's The Goblin Girl. Go back it now. Peace, love, and understanding to all, and have a great night.